All right, diving in today, we're looking at the stories of Ukraine's wounded heroes. The ones who are rebuilding their lives after serving on the front lines.
Yeah, and it's a tough journey for so many of them.
Absolutely. We've got some firsthand accounts here, some real insights into what they're going through. Plus, we'll be looking at this organization called Ukraine Boost.
They're doing some amazing work, really going above and beyond to support these veterans.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're talking about thousands of veterans returning home, many with injuries that have, changed their lives forever. But it's not just the physical challenges they're facing, right?
Right. I mean, think about it. These are people who were putting their lives on the line for their country. And now they're back and they have to find jobs that work with their injuries, deal with the trauma, try to fit back into a society that's kind of moved on without them. It's a lot to handle.
And the sources we have really highlight that disconnect. Like one veteran even said it felt like he was speaking a different language when he got back. Like nobody around him could really understand what he had been through.
Yeah, that feeling of isolation, it comes up a lot in these stories. Imagine going from this intense camaraderie on the battlefield to suddenly feeling alone with your struggles. You add in things like PTSD, survivor's guilt. It's no wonder so many veterans feel lost.
It's tough to hear, for sure. But that's where Ukraine Boost comes in, right? They're taking these challenges head on. They've got this really unique approach, a two-pronged approach.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is that they're not just thinking about immediate relief, they're focused on long-term empowerment.
Yeah, exactly. Ukraine Boost is focused on creating jobs that are actually designed around the skills these veterans already have. And they're providing training in some really cutting edge fields, like future proofing their careers, things like cybersecurity, digital marketing. These are the jobs that are going to be even more important in the years to come.
So it's not just about, giving them a handout. It's about giving them the tools and the skills to build a future, a stable future. And that way they can contribute to the Ukrainian economy in a meaningful way.
One of the things that really stands out about Ukraine Boost is how much they're embracing technology. They've actually partnered with companies to develop these VR training programs. Like we're talking simulations of real-world construction projects where veterans can learn things like coding and how to operate machinery.
Wow, so using technology to actually break down barriers, that's pretty incredible.
And it's not just about technical skills either. Ukraine Boost gets how important it is to address the mental and emotional side of things too.
Right, because having the skills for a job is one thing, but feeling confident and mentally prepared to actually go back to work is another.
Exactly. Their programs have things like support groups and counseling services built in, so veterans have a safe space to connect with people who get what they're going through. It's about healing those invisible wounds at the same time as they're building those practical skills.
So really taking a holistic approach, looking at the whole person.
And here's the thing, it's working. We've got stories of veterans who, lost limbs in the conflict who are now running successful businesses. There's this one guy who through Ukraine Boost, was able to get training and a microloan to start his own drone photography business. So he's not just getting by, he's creating a future for himself.
See, that's what I love about this. It's not about charity. It's about recognizing the potential in these veterans,
Yeah.
giving them a real shot at turning their lives around.
It's about empowerment, helping them become entrepreneurs, innovators, leaders. They're not just rebuilding their own lives, they're helping to rebuild Ukraine itself.
It's amazing how they're taking these challenges and turning them into opportunities. But, we've got to be realistic. Running programs like this takes resources, and a lot of them.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where we all come in. Ukraine Boost relies heavily on individual support. People like you, listening right now. They have an online shop where you can buy all sorts of things: clothing, home goods, artwork, all of it crafted by Ukrainians and directly supporting these veteran programs.
Wait, so I can get some cool new stuff and help empower these heroes at the same time.
Exactly. Every purchase makes a difference. But of course, direct donations are always welcome too. And even something as simple as spreading the word on social media can have a huge impact. The more people who know about Ukraine Boost, the more support they can get.
So it's not just about the money. It's about raising awareness and getting people invested in this cause.
Exactly. Every little bit counts. And the best part is you can actually see the results of what you're doing. You're not just throwing money into some void. You're helping to transform lives and build a brighter future for Ukraine.
So it sounds like we can make a real difference here. But I'm curious, how does Ukraine Boost actually go about creating these opportunities? They mentioned something about creating businesses that play to veterans' strengths. What does that actually look like on the ground?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me in the sources was how they tap into what Ukraine's already good at. Like agriculture. Ukraine has always been a huge agricultural
Yeah,
force,
just
right?
breadbasket of Europe.
Exactly. So Ukraine Boost helping veterans get a foothold in that sector, offering training, resources, all that, to start their own farms or businesses related to agriculture.
So they're really thinking strategically, not just placing veterans in any old job.
Right. It's about finding opportunities that fit into the existing economic landscape.
Hmm.
And their work in the tech sector is another good example of that. They're recognizing that, remote work is becoming more and more common. So they're training veterans in things like web development, software engineering. And that's huge for veterans who maybe have mobility issues because it means they're not limited by location anymore.
Yeah, they can tap into a global workforce from anywhere.
Exactly. And it's not just about filling existing jobs either. They're also big on helping veterans become job creators themselves.
Oh, so like starting their own businesses.
Exactly. Like think about a soldier who was in charge of logistics and supply chains during the war. Those skills translate really well to running a business,
Oh,
right?
yeah, makes sense.
So Ukraine Boost provides mentorship, helps them develop business plans, even connects them with microfinancing options.
It's that whole teach a man to fish idea, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just giving handouts, they're giving them the tools to create their own opportunities.
It's all about empowerment. And there's something really powerful, about building something from scratch, especially when you've been through what these veterans have.
Yeah, they're not just rebuilding their lives, they're rebuilding the economy too.
Exactly. It's inspiring to see. But, I'm also curious to hear what the veterans themselves have to say. What kind of impact are these programs actually having on their lives?
Yeah, what's the feedback like?
Well, one of the most powerful things that came through in the sources was this sense of hope, this renewed sense of purpose.
Okay, so it's more than just the practical stuff.
Right. They talk about how these programs have given them a reason to get up in the morning. They feel like they belong again. They're contributing to something bigger than themselves.
So it's not just about the paycheck. It's about that feeling of dignity, of being able to provide for yourself and your family.
Exactly. Many of them talk about how it's helped them deal with the isolation. They've found a new kind of camaraderie similar to what they had on the battlefield.
Like they're finding a new mission, a new brotherhood, but here at home.
Exactly. They're not on the front lines anymore, but they're serving their country in a different way through rebuilding, through innovation. And that's powerful stuff.
It really makes you realize that supporting these veterans isn't just, about charity. It's about recognizing their potential and investing in a stronger future for Ukraine.
Absolutely. We're talking about tapping into a workforce that's already proven how resilient and determined they are.
They're not just beneficiaries, they're assets. They're a huge source of strength and innovation.
And that's a message we need to get out there. The more people who understand this, the more support these veterans will get.
It's a story about hope, about resilience.
Mm-hmm.
It's really incredible. Hearing about these programs is one thing, but I'd love to hear what it's actually like from the veterans themselves. What are they saying about their experiences with Ukraine Boost? Like, how has it actually impacted their lives?
Well, that's where these sources get really powerful because we actually have some firsthand accounts from veterans who've gone through these programs. And what struck me was how honest they are, about the struggles they face.
Yeah, I bet it's not easy to talk about.
Absolutely. But by sharing their stories, they're helping to break down the stigma around mental health. They're bringing those invisible wounds of war into the light. They talk about the nightmares, the anxiety, how hard it is to connect with people who haven't been through what they've been through.
It really shows that the fight doesn't end when they come home. They're dealing with a whole new set of battles, emotional scars, physical limitations, that feeling of being lost, like the world has moved on without them.
And that's where Ukraine Boost is really making difference. It's not just about, job training. It's about creating a space where they belong, a community. A lot of veterans talk about how the support groups and counseling have been so important for them.
Like finding a new platoon.
Yeah.
People who understand what they've been through.
Exactly. Having that shared understanding is so important for healing. And beyond that, these programs are giving them a sense of purpose again, something meaningful to focus on.
That seems to be a big theme in all these stories. The veterans talk about how being able to work, provide for their families, use their skills to rebuild their country, it gives them back their dignity.
It's about feeling valued again, like they have something to offer. One veteran put it really well. He said it was like being back in the fight, but this time, the fight was for a better future. Not just for him, but for all of Ukraine.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
So they're taking that strength, that resilience from the battlefield and channeling it into this new mission, rebuilding their lives, their communities, their country.
And that's what's so brilliant about Ukraine Boost's approach. They're not just helping veterans survive, they're helping them thrive. They're turning these wounded warriors into, agents of change, entrepreneurs, innovators, people who are shaping the future of Ukraine.
It's really inspiring. Their stories show the incredible spirit of the Ukrainian people, this ability to not just endure hardship, but to overcome it and come out stronger.
And that spirit is contagious. It makes you want to do more, be a part of something bigger. And supporting Ukraine's veterans, it's not just charity, it's an investment in a better future for everyone.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this. What role will you play in this story? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Even sharing Ukraine Boost's story, making a small donation, or just taking a moment to think about the sacrifices these veterans have made, it all matters.
Every little bit counts. It can spark a movement, a ripple effect. That wave of support can reach those heroes and help them build the future they deserve.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.